Hello again, students. This is the second part of the chapter Control and Coordination. So, in the previous video, we have learned that involuntary and voluntary movements of the animals is controlled by nervous system. So, what about in plants? They do not have any nervous system, students. They just have xylem and phloem. So, how do they control their movements? Some people have a misconception that plants do not move, they don't show any movement. That is very wrong, students. I will show you two videos that can prove that there is movement in plants. So, let's see the video and get back to the lesson. So students, hope you have watched the video. We have seen in the video that touch me not plant. This plant, if we touch, that touch is a stimuli, students. So when we touch, it closes its leaves. Why does it close? Because of self-defense. So when external stimuli is applied, it will change its internal shape or structure. So this is one type of movement. Also, you can see a plant grows only towards the sunlight. The the portion of a plant, that is stem and leaves, tends to move towards the sunlight. Why is this? I will show a video of this one too. First, let us classify these two. One movement is dependent on growth. That is, a plant moving towards sunlight is dependent on growth, and a stimuli acting to the stimuli and closing your leaves, the touch me not plant, this is independent of growth.
Register today at KLM Institute for free online classes, revisions, doubt clearance, private online and offline classes, Olympiad exams, and win prizes, scholarships, and much more.
First, we will look into the movements that are independent of growth. So, how does plant communicate with each other? Like in the inside the leaves, how do they communicate with all the cells? So even they use electrical and chemical means like us. If you watch the first video, you will understand how. So, but they do not have any specialized tissue. We have nervous system, but they do not have any nervous system for themselves. They just use water, students. You can see here, I have written 2 points here. Plants use electrical chemical means to convey this information from cell to cell. But unlike animals, there is no specialized tissue in plants for the conduction of information. But plant cells change their shape by changing the amount of water, students. Okay, imagine you touch the plant. Okay, you touch the plant somewhere in the tip of the plant. What is connected to the this midrib, this midrib, and here will be the leaf. Okay, I will draw here. This is the center portion and here are the leaves. Okay, this connection here, the water can be lost or gained to change the shape of the plants to get this. Okay, you can see here leaves are closed. Now let us see the movements dependent on growth. Let me show you a video first. Students, hope you have watched the video very carefully. You can see that leaves are shifting or growing towards the light. This process is known as phototropism. You can see here, photo means light, students. So if photo means light and tropism means the growth of plant towards light, then you can call it as plant shoot shows positive phototropism. So we have other movements also like this in plants, that is geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism. So all the what is geotropism? That is based on gravity. Roots grow downwards, that is positively geotropic, and shoots are negatively geotropic. They grow against the gravity. You can see here in this experiment, if you tilt apart, a shoot goes towards up and root goes down. And also chemotropism, this is very important phenomena. We will study in detail about this in the sexual reproduction of plants. Also hydrotropism, to know that water the plant root is attracted to water, you can do this experiment. You can take a closed vessel and put soil in it, and one side of the soil you can put water, and you can place the plant next to it. You can see that after few days the root will grow towards the water. Beautiful, isn't it, students? So plant do have so many movements in them. So how do they carry out such movements? Okay, electric impulses and chemical impulses are okay. That is happening in the immediate response. But here we are using only chemical communication because students, this is the cell of a plant. Okay, imagine four cells. You can see here. I'll draw the nucleus too. This is the cell wall, outer cell wall. This is the cell wall, and this is the nucleus. Okay, and all these are, they cannot be connected by one nervous tissue to send an electric impulse. So what do? But they all have chemical communication strands in between them. They communicate in the form of hormones. So what are these hormones? We can have auxins, we have gibberellins, we have cytokinins and abscisic acid. So auxins, I will give the example of auxin. Imagine this cell, this particular cell here recognizes a light source from here. Okay, this what happens is it produces auxins. So when this produces auxin, the neighboring cells get a signal. Okay, this cell is producing auxin, so I have to go towards this side. This side is the light, so I am growing towards that side. So this is just in case of auxin. It also happens in gibberellin, cytokinins. It is depending on the stimuli of the abiotic factors. That is light, it might be water, it might be gravity. So all the cells are connected chemically, and these chemicals are known as hormones. So you can remember these auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and abscisic acid. So auxins help the cell to grow longer. So you can imagine, right? The if it helps in the growth, it can tell where to grow and where not to grow. So gibberellins also help in the growth of stem or shoot system. So cytokinins promote cell division. Now you know what is cell division, right? here the nuclei will break and forms a new cell. This also is a very important hormones in plants, and this is also very important, students. Abscisic acid inhibits the growth. That is, it tells plant stop growing. So you can coordinate all these hormones in the plant, and it will show all type of geotropism, hydrotropism. Okay, this is about movements dependent on growth. So students, I hope you have understood about the movement dependent on growth in plants. So what about human students? Do we also have hormones? Of course, we have so many hormones, and they also play a major role in all of our life processes. So we will look into that in the next part.
Give your imagination wings. If you're willing to write something, what are you waiting for? Share your ideas and thoughts. Let your ideas reach out to millions. Get your articles published through our blogs for free.
So students, we have a very well developed nervous system. Then why do we need hormones? I will tell you some of the basic limitations of our nervous system. Only one type of signal can be given at a time. That is, if your brain wants to connect your hand muscles to something, it can only tell one thing, and it cannot be simultaneous, it cannot be continuous. So once it goes, then it has to wait for few milliseconds for the next signal to send. And every cell is not connected by nervous system, friends. Some cells are detached from the nervous system because simply because they are at the end of the body, or they are at the tip of something. So this is why we need hormones. And also, you can understand the speciality of hormones by one simple example. If you see a squirrel, it has two functions, that it has two options. It can either stay there and fight back with you, or it can run away. But most of the cases we will see that squirrel run away because they see you as a bigger individual, or it cannot fight back to you. So these decisions are made quick, and these are made repeatedly. You can see the squirrel every day, they come out for food. Okay, if you go in the parks, or even in your house, sometimes they come. So we also have these fight and flight situations. Here you can see. Imagine you and your parents go to a forest and you see a tiger coming, which is loose. What do? You choose to fight or flight? So what this helps us decide is that a similar set of functions that needs to be used daily, or even some very often, those set of actions are controlled by hormones. So that will be convenient, isn't it? All the cells are connected, and it is a chemical communication. Hormones are chemical, students. So it does not get detached to any of the cells. Chemical can be transferred throughout our body. So what chemical does this fight or flight can be controlled by? That you have to answer me after studying the endocrine system in human beings. So students, these are the endocrine system, that is endocrine glands present in us. I have listed down all the glands here. Hypothalamus, here it is present, and pineal gland. As I tell the names of the gland, you can try to locate it. Okay, where is pituitary gland and thyroid gland? This is a very important gland, students. Parathyroid glands, thymus, pancreas. Where have you studied pancreas? You should have studied it in the digestive system, students. So pancreas is known as a dual gland. It also produces enzymes and produces hormones. So adrenal glands, and in males we have testes, and also in females we have ovary. Okay, this is the only difference between males and females. All other glands are same. So now let us study the functions one by one. Then you can answer to my question that which hormone controls fight and flight. First, we will look into hypothalamus. It releases releasing hormones. So when we say releasing hormones, what is it telling to release? It is telling pituitary gland. You can see here it is telling pituitary gland to release the hormones. Now we will see directly jump to pituitary gland. So pituitary gland releases growth hormone. See how all these are interconnected, students. What growth hormone does? It stimulates growth. So when a person is growing, if pituitary gland does not work in some, or it malfunctions, some can grow into giants, some can grow into dwarfs. So this is a very integral part for our posture and our growth. And we will look into the pineal gland, which produces melatonin. So you have your eyes, you know when it's dark, when it's light, but where does this information go in your body? How does your body cells know that it is dark and light? Your brain knows that it is light or dark, but your whole body knows in because of melatonin. So that is the function of pineal gland. And thyroid gland, students, it produces a hormone called as thyroxine. It regulates metabolism, such as your blood sugar, blood pumping, and your respiration. Such metabolism it helps in. So you should have seen the thyroid iodized salt packets. Okay, this is helpful because iodine is an important part in the production of thyroxine. That is why it is very essential for our body to have iodine in them. So parathyroid glands, they do not have a specific hormones as such, but they regulate the calcium in our body. Where is calcium in our body, students? In our bones, in our teeth, in our fingernails. So it regulates the calcium in our body. Next, we will move on to the thymus. It produces many hormones, one of which is thymulin. It is responsible for immune cells. It matures and produces immune cells. This is how we fight back with our immunity. And pancreas, our dual gland, which we saw in the digestive system, it produces a very important hormone known as insulin. If you have a person over 40 years, they have a very high risk of diabetes. So what happens in case of diabetes? This insulin will not be produced in sufficient quantity by the pancreas. So the doctor suggests take the patient to take shots of insulin that controls the blood sugar level, students. Your blood has sugar dissolved in it. So when it should not get high, it should not get low. It should be maintained. So insulin helps the maintenance of blood sugar level. And adrenal glands. So you should know adrenal glands produces something called as adrenaline, which helps in our fight or flight response. So now you know what is the fight or flight response created by, how it is maintained in our body. So testes is present in male. Okay, it produces a hormone called testosterone. So testosterone is very important for human development. It produces secondary sexual characters in males, and also it is related with production of red blood cells and sperm. And ovary in females is a very important part in a female. It produces estrogen, progesterone. Okay, what are its functions? It is responsible for development of female sex organs. It regulates the menstrual cycle in females, and etc. We will study about testis and ovary in the reproduction chapter. Okay, and these are the functions. So now I hope you can answer my question, that is adrenal glands, and the hormone is adrenaline. So thank you, students. I hope you have enjoyed the control and coordination.